This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com, and today on the Great North Wrestling Podcast, we have independent wrestler from Virginia, Ace Montana, who was involved in a highly controversial situation earlier today with Teddy Hart, who we all know here in Canada, and he's wrestled for Great North Wrestling. He's been under WWE contract twice, most recently in MLW, and you were actually a longtime friend of his girlfriend. Is that correct?
Yeah, for sure.
So you actually had something to do with her training, right?
Well, yeah, well, and that's the thing too is everybody, and you know how this is in wrestling. If someone makes it just a little bit, everybody wants to crest of, oh yeah, I helped her get there. I never helped Maria. Maria did her own thing. She came into a school that I was help training in Richmond, Virginia, and she walked in green like we all are, and she just she could tell there was something special about her, but she definitely needed a better direction of what she was going to get in Virginia. Virginia's got a lot of it's just a dead wrestling state. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some guys now that are trying to open up stuff here, but it's just not what it is because we have the commission here. So we've got booker's fees, promoters fees, insurance. I mean, it's like, you know, 100 miles down the road, you go to North Carolina and it's the Wild Wild West. But when it comes to Maria and wrestling, I'd like to say I helped her out with getting her out of Virginia and showing her that wrestling is not what it's cracked up to be behind the curtain.
And she is in Ring of Honor now. Is that right? I'm not that familiar with Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I really don't watch Ring of Honor a lot. I see some stuff that they do online. And, I know she has a good part there, and she's got some cool angles going on. I know this whole COVID-19 thing has really put a brakes on major wrestling events of this year, like a lot of places that run in yourself, that run independent shows and other things. But yeah, she's with Ring of Honor now, under contract.
Well, that's great. I'm happy to hear that she's under contract. I guess she started this YouTube channel with Ted a few months ago. How long has she actually been dating Ted for?
Um, me and Maria were estranged, and I was talking about this to you earlier. How like you have those friendships in life where y'all break away, and then as soon as y'all connect back, it's like a day never left, and you just picked right back up. That's how Maria and I's relationship is, and her and Teddy. Well, I don't know how long they've been dating. I know the first time that I saw it, it was nothing but negative online, and I was like, well, it's online. You never know what someone's, if it's a work or if it's a shoot, and stuff like that. So, the biggest thing is just trying to find out what was a work and what was a shoot, and trying to talk to her. It was definitely, it was really hard the first time I met Ted because it put everyone, what happened to him put everybody in down here that was involved in a very tight spot very quickly. So money had to be moved somewhere, places, cars got repossessed, excuse me, and things
And
just
you're
didn't work.
referring to his first arrest, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. I think it was due to steroids and paraphernalia. I don't know what, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a clue, but that's the first arrest. The second arrest, it was I don't know if anybody knew it, but her where he was staying with a good friend of mine who's also an independent pro wrestler. He goes by the name of Pork Chop Johnson. And he was staying with my good friend of mine, Pork Chop Johnson, who's also an independent wrestler here in Virginia. He does stuff with like the School of Morton down in Tennessee and stuff like that, and goes to like Boogie Woogie, Jimmy Valiant's camp and stuff like that. And he let Teddy stay with him on a sense of like $300 a month. Hey, come stay with me till your court case gets done. I wish I saved the pictures of how bad he trashed this apartment. It was just mind blowing. Like it didn't make sense, rhyme or reason of what he did in there. And we can get into that earlier, but yeah, So the first arrest was because of the drugs and whatever else the cops pulled him over for that he had on him at the time. Then he got on house arrest, got bond, got kicked out of the place he was staying with my friend. Then Maria put him in a hotel. Then they got in another physical altercation that a lot of people, I don't know if people knew about that, but this was like the first time that I was super pissed off because we were talking again. And she's like, yeah, me and Teddy just got in a fight. And I was very pissed off about it. I was very upset with her because I didn't understand what was going on. I've met a couple of her boyfriends that she's had in the business prior to, not, us being estranged. But yeah, he got arrested for them fighting or whatever. But no, I don't think it was like as serious as it was today. Today was I want to say the breaking point on her end and my end as well. And on Teddy's end too. There was, a lot of people involved with this thing that went down that went so viral so quick. I never knew something like this could blow up as big as it did, but it did. And it's definitely, an altercation of everything that went down.
Where is she staying? The house, I'm guessing, that this went down at today, that's where she's residing for now?
It was like an Airbnb. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it was a rental house. It wasn't her house. It wasn't anybody's house. It was like an Airbnb that they were just renting to, until they figured out something else, something I think more concrete.
Right.
So and I think she's back with family now. So which is perfect, which is where I wanted her to be.
Why did they move back to Virginia from Florida?
Because Teddy wasn't leaving. They put an ankle bracelet on his ass, and they were like, "Hey, dude, you're not going anywhere. Don't try to go anywhere." I think they took his passport. They took his ID, and gave him a piece of paper that lets them know if he got pulled over. I tell people this all the time. Virginia's not a state you want to get stuck in. You know what I'm saying? For any charge, because they will lock you up and throw away the key. You know what I'm saying?
So he was just visiting at the time he got that first arrest?
Your first arrest, they were visiting, I guess, maybe for holidays or passing through, and it just, you can't drive a Maserati in Richmond, Virginia. You know what I'm saying? In the middle of the night, acting a fool and not expect to get pulled over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So for the events of today, how did you become involved in what was going on?
Well, I was doing what I did I was getting stuff together in the morning, which is, real rare for me to hear from Maria before noon. Just like any wrestler,
Yeah.
pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Any wrestler, if it ain't noon and you don't hear from them, if you hear from a wrestler before noon in the afternoon or 1 o'clock, something's wrong. If it's like the message that I received, and because I always make fun of people because I think wrestlers we have our own time that we're on, which is always be late to everything. And I don't know, you can tell me, was it Cornette that said be so late? If you're going to be late, be so late that we're glad to see you.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
That was him.
And
Be
I'm
so
glad,
late that they're just thankful to have you there. They're beyond the point of the match.
now get your gear, your matches next type of stuff. So
Yeah.
it was definitely weird to hear from her that early in the morning. And I received a text message on the phone, which I think a lot of people usually just brush off these day and age if someone's reaching out. And she reached out to me in a very serious way. She asked me if I could come by the house. And I was like, the one y'all are renting right now? And she's like, yeah, the Airbnb that they were staying at. And I was like, well, that's weird. Okay. And because I didn't know if Teddy was there or not. I didn't know when he got out, but I haven't heard from her in 2 weeks. So I was like, all right, something must be up. And then all I got the next text was, I'm in danger. So I was like, holy shit. Okay. Let me not take this text message lightly. Let me do the right adult thing. At 32, let me do the right thing, or any age. It ain't just my age, but any time to go see what's going on. So I got in my truck. I went to, the location that she was at this Airbnb, and she's no longer there, but, the one they were staying at. And, I got there, and I'm not a violent person. I'm a big guy. I can hold my own, and that's not me trying to be a badass in wrestling or, I mean, it's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm 6 foot. I'm 300 pounds, 350 pounds. I'm a big guy, and I'm not, like I told you earlier, I'm not like a slow guy. I can move quick, and I can, if need be, I can throw down. I don't mind it. I've done it. I bounced at bars, down in Richmond at my dad's bar down in Wonderland. He has a bar downtown in Richmond called Wonderland, and I've been doing that with him since I was 17. And so, it's definitely crazy to be wrapped up in that so quickly and to have it happen like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to say like a TV episode scene happen in front of you real quick, and like you don't know what to do. So I got the text, like I said, before noon. So I was a little concerned. So I decided, but I did put in my mind, I was like, okay, if she's joking with me or this is going to be something and I get there, I'm going to be super pissed off. Cause like, this is something I don't ever want to get a text message from, about or hear from a friend like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, just joking. See you when I wake up at 2:00,
Yeah.
So, I got the call. And I just showed up, and something told me that it just didn't feel right. So I carry a Taurus Judge, which is a hand revolver that holds shotgun shells and 45s. It's a pretty badass gun. I carry it with me everywhere just because today the world's crazy. You know what I'm saying? You get a guy can get out of his car and start shooting up everybody.
Yeah.
Just like that Texas gimmick that happened a couple of months ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, it happens every day, and I'm not good. If it's going to happen to me, I want to at least be prepared. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If something ever bad happened, which I'm glad it hasn't. This is the first time I've ever had to pull a gun out of a holster and pull it on a human being. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not one of these dumbass rednecks running around. Not that being a dumbass redneck is bad. I mean, that's my thoroughbred. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, not that that's knocking on anybody, because I'm Southern through and through, and I love every bit of it. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and, guns are nothing to fuck with. And I don't mean to cuss. I'm sorry about, you can edit that out. But they're nothing to mess with. And he just wasn't there. It wasn't the Ted Hart wrestler was not there today. You know what I'm saying? This guy was, grinding his teeth. He showed the door, I knocked on the door, and something told me, we'll reverse a little bit. I got my gun out of my holster. I had Carhartt overalls on. So people were like, well, how did he record this video? The Carhartt stay right here in your chest. And when I'm like doing stuff, I can slide that down right there. And my iPhone's so big that the camera sticks out on top, and I can record everything when I'm turning. So no one was recording. I was recording. I just shoved it in the pocket. So if anybody wanted to know, that's how I was recording, and being like, I think everybody's been sending me this funny meme where it's, what is it? Get your juice box and get the ruck up the road or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, something I said in the heat of the moment to try to get this guy away. You know what I'm saying? So I get there, I unholster my gun, I put it in my overall pocket, which is my Carhartt. I knock on the door. Normally, I knock on it, take a couple steps back, Teddy Hart answers the door. He cracks it about this much to be like, show me his face. He's smoking a joint, which I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I just got back from Jamaica.
Is it legal in Virginia?
A shit ton of pot. Huh?
Is it legal in Virginia? Because it's legal.
Hell no. They will. I don't think it's like a slap on the wrist nowadays, but like 10 years ago, they'd lock your ass up for a joint. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's crazy. I just got back from Jamaica before all this coronavirus stuff for my honeymoon. I got married a month ago, actually.
Oh.
And I was able to, smoke pot over there. So the pot thing didn't bother me at all. And it never does. I don't think it's a drug. But he opened it. He was really weirded out. Like, he was, you know how when you get in a real altercation, a lot of guys don't know this, because a lot of guys that don't really get in fights in their entire life or anything, you get that jitter shake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you're ready to beat someone's ass, but you get pulled off, he gets pulled off, but you get that jitter shake. When you're talking, your voice cracks a little bit. And that's what he was doing. And like, being a bouncer for as long as I have at Wonderland, downtown Richmond, at my dad's bar, I was able to learn body language from people, and then, my father was a domestic violence towards my mother, and it was just that growing up, just shitty. But something was up, and I was like, well, like I said, he opened the door this wide, and I was like, well, let me, hey man, I need to speak to Maria. He's like, well, she's sleeping right now, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's good and all, man, but I really need to speak to Maria about something. He's like, well, just give me the message, and I'll give it to her. I said, well, Teddy, you got two options. You can either open this door and let me speak to Maria and wake her up, or I'm gonna do it. And I don't know where you're going, but I'm coming through there. And he was like, man, I'm not even trying to do anything like this. Like, what are you trying to do? So he went to shut the door. Of course, at that point, I made physical entry into the house. And when I saw the table and everything thrown around, and I could tell by the atmosphere, something fucking went down. You know what I'm saying? Furniture was moved. And I was like, okay, cool. Back the fuck up. That's what I told him. I said, back the fuck up. Stay over there. Where's Maria? And I didn't hear her. I heard mumbling, but I didn't hear her yet. So, and of course, then I go into straight, boom, overdrive. And then I start, okay, cool. I'm going to make sure she's good. I'm going to put this guy down if I have to. I made sure he got against the wall. At this point, I had my gun drawn when I had to force my way in to get an attention to a human being who was not checked in. You know what I'm saying? He was definitely checked out.
Did you have to push the door open or anything, or did he open it once you drew your gun?
I think, well, once I got through the threshold, I pulled the gun. So, I mean, I forced my way in, and then once I got through, I knew something was down. I already was pulling the gun, and I already had it on him. I already had it done, set, and I had it on him, just like I was trained and all the time, training classes that I took when I bought the gun and when I go up there to, train with it and stuff like that. I made sure I did everything the way I was supposed to do it. And I just told him, I was like, look, dude, until I find out what's going on, please stay the fuck back from me. Don't get around me. He's like, oh, yes, man, I love you. Thank you so much. I love you. I'm like, dude, stop. There ain't no love going on right now. Leave me the fuck alone. Where's Maria? And then I walk around the corner of this Airbnb they're staying at, and she's laying on the couch. Finally coming to. And it didn't look good. Like she had, I mean, the police took enough pictures around her neck. I mean, it looked like a dude's bicep was like imprinted on her neck, and like you could tell he really fucked her up. And so, like I said, sorry for cussing again, but he really did a number on her this time, and I think it really scared her to the point where I got the text message, and this is where I want to take an awareness to these text messages. If a friend reaches out at anything with suicide, with, thoughts of doing bad things, whatever, don't take these text messages lightly because I went and I did. I took it serious. I took all precautions like I was supposed to. And I'm glad I did, because I feel like if I didn't do that, I don't feel like we would have, a happy ending to this story, which is just a guy getting arrested for being a fucking idiot. You know what I'm saying?
So basically what happened after that, you walked in, you saw the marks on her neck. And what was your interaction with you and Ted at that point? You were just telling him to get out?
No, I went from hero to zero quick. It went from, all right, dude, just stay back, be cool, to motherfucker, you're about to die. Like, I don't know who the fuck you think you are. This is a fucking female. She's the man eater, and she's a tough chick. And don't let this discourage anything about Maria. She's tough. You know what I'm saying? Right. But like Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the mouth or get knocked out, whichever the one it is. You know what I'm saying? And it blew my mind to see it. And I think a little bit of the anger that came back on me was my mother was treated this way. So I think it ignited something that hasn't been ignited in a long time. And I think Ted knew as soon as I saw her, he knew he was fucked. Does that make sense? I think that's why he didn't want no one to see her, try to keep her in clothes and try to baby her and try to win her over again, I guess. But he knew when I saw her, he was fucked.
Do you think she was actually knocked unconscious before you arrived, or was just kind of dazed?
You know what? I mean, I don't. From what I gathered through her when talking with her after it was all when the dust settled, man, I think he really fucked her up mentally. And she even told me, she's like, I was tapping out. It sucks when you have to tap out in real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if anybody's been choked before or, been put in a sleeper hold or, what I'm saying? It's not because when you're
There's
joking
no
to your
referee
buddies,
there for that.
huh?
There's no referee there to see the tap.
There's no fans, there's no referee, there's nothing. And I think the big thing was, we all forget that she's 23 years old. She just turned 23. You know what I'm saying? She's not 32. She's not
40.
a long run veteran in this business that, like a Sherry was and stuff like that, but I think it really messed her up in the sense of, this guy should have never treated her this way at all. It should have never happened. And I think it really messed her up a lot. Like, but not in a way that I don't think she couldn't do shows once this is all over. I think it just opened her eyes to see, like, he's not good. Like, and, I want to go on record saying, I don't want to sit here. Yeah. When I posted the video that went viral and that got me on this podcast or this FaceTime with you or whatever it's called, on, Hannibal's TV show, man, dude, I was pissed off. Right. And I was all about fuck Teddy Hart. He's a piece of shit, but then I remember I have a brother that's bipolar manic depressant and he struggles every day with drugs and making the simple decision of, should I do drugs or should I try to be a good person? You know what I'm saying? And it's a real thing. Mental things are real and they affect millions of families all over the world. So, I don't want to be the guy to be like, fuck Teddy Hart. He's a piece of shit. At the time and at the moment, at the heat of the moment, I was all about it, but after the dust settled and it was cool, I'm like, man, is there anyone or anything this guy can get help with? Because a jail cell is not going to help him. You know what I'm saying? A jail cell isn't going to help Teddy Hart become a better man. And if he's willing to put his hands on somebody, like this and this, monster of a matter, then he needs to be locked up, and then they can figure out what's wrong. I think the one thing about Virginia is if they see something's off, they'll do their best to get him where he needs to be. You know what I'm saying? But everyone I've tried to talk to about Teddy Hart, any bookers, any friends, are done with him. Like, they don't want nothing to do with him. They don't even want to give him a chance or whatever, which is fine. I don't know Teddy Hart's story. I didn't really know who Teddy Hart was until she started dating Maria, which, that shows you that I don't follow wrestling as hardcore as a lot of people do. But the kid at 40 years old needs help, and I'm saying it like I'm some veteran, which I'm not, but you know what I'm saying? Like, the guy needs a lot of help and he needs to get it now, not tomorrow. He needed it yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
So I guess after you saw the marks on her neck, that's the point where he left the house?
No, he continued to try to stay in the house. When I showed up, Teddy Hart had a woman's ROH shirt on, right? A female's t-shirt, which that's nothing wrong with that. He's got a small body. It fits comfortably. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not whatever floats your boat, rock and roll. He had a pair of sweats on, one rainbow flip-flop, like sandal, and a tennis shoe, and string of flowers tied around his waist, and a whole bunch of shit. He was holding, and it was just weird. And so I just told him, I was like, I don't give a fuck what you've got to do, but you better start getting out of this house right now. And he's like, man, just let me talk to you. And this is what I wanted to record it when I first got in there, but mentally, I didn't want to have that on me going down, and with me knowing I'm going in there with a loaded gun. That was never my intention to get famous off of this. Like I told you earlier when we first talked, I never wanted pro wrestling to meet Ace Montana in this matter. I much rather being able to get booked with Hannibal in Canada and be a great guy and get noticed through that way. Like, this was never my plan to ever do anything with this. Now, posting on Facebook, I will be the first to say I should have really thought about it, because my wife is the one that was like, think you should have posted it. And I was like, no, I shouldn't have, but I did. So I got to eat that where it lies. You know what I'm saying? I got to play that ball where it lies. And I did. I should have much more rather took a step back. I just was like, at that point, seeing like I see her. You saw the picture, you know, how she was a kid, you know, with me with the when I had when she first saw me wrestle, and it was just like, I got two little girls, all right, and that's what people don't know. I got my daughter Savannah, I got tattooed, and my daughter Emma, I got tattooed on my wrist. And that little kid inside, man, that couldn't help his mother when they're, you know, my father was really being a horrible person in front of us with our, you know, domestically abusing my mother. It just all came out, you know what I'm saying? It all came out in a way that once I got him out of the house, once he started taking his clothes off, and then he started putting them back on, to the point, not like taking them off where he was like quick, but he was like slowly starting to take off. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Get out of the house, you know, stop trying to, you know, I guess delay the outcome. You're fucking leaving. So he goes to the front door. He tries to take her car keys. And I was like, no, throw the keys over here. He's like, well, I want my rhinestones, my jewels. And I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? You know what I'm saying? And Maria's like, oh, it was those sticker rhinestones that you get on a sticky piece of paper and you stick the rhinestone on things. That's what it was. And I was like, okay. And I threw those to him. He threw me the keys. But right before he left, and this is before the recording or anything ever happened, he got down on his knees. He turned around and he says, bullets don't kill me. I kill with love. I'm Jesus Christ now. Kissed the floor of the entranceway and shut the door. Once he shut the door, I disarmed my firearm. I locked the door. I put the deadbolt on. Before he left now, I made sure that she threw him a jacket, threw him some shoes, you know, because it was chilly in Richmond today. So I made sure she threw him some stuff on, like, get out. Like, don't come back. And because Maria wasn't gonna call the cops. She was like, I just want him gone. He'll stay away, I promise. And I'm like, no, he won't.
You said their dog was locked in a room or something.
Oh, too. Yeah. When I got there, the dog was like crying. Like it was so bad because like you had the sound of the dog crying, like whimpering. And the only reason why the dog was locked up is because when they were fighting, Maria said that the dog attacked Teddy Hart and was biting him. So Teddy threw the dog in the room, shut the door so the dog couldn't get at Teddy, and Teddy could handle Maria by himself. Because I mean, it's a pit bull, it's a baby, it's a little female pit bull, but it was real weird to hear that. And I was like, "What's wrong with the dog?" And he's like, "Oh, she just got locked up." And I'm like I said, when all that stuff was going on, everything that I've ever done and like learned to like notice about the human behavior in a hostile situation or at trying to cover something up, it just reeked of it. You know what I'm saying? So, once he got out of the house, this was like a 15-minute thing. I locked the doors of this Airbnb they were staying at, and the dog came out. The dog was, you know, freaking out, ran all over. Like, and the dog wouldn't leave Maria's side at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, the dog would not leave. Was between her legs. You know, the dog was in self protection mode for Maria. Like, you could tell, like that. And that's one thing too, is dogs. They have that sixth sense that everybody talks about, man. Them dogs now, that they know if you're a bad person, they know it. And that's a proven thing, you know, by trainers and stuff like that. Not saying that all dogs are, you know, not all dogs go to heaven, but, you know, a lot of dogs are really good, you know, companions, and that's Maria's companion. So you could tell that it was really shooken up itself. After we let the dog out, once Teddy was out of the house and did all this point to get him out of the house. once he got out, I was like, okay, I got to like secure everything. So I went and I secured all her windows at this Airbnb, made sure they were locked, made sure the back was locked. And I was looking out the window and I said he was coming back. He walked into a convenience store and got some stuff. And then he came back to my my truck. And I was like, man, please don't touch my truck. You know what I'm saying? Like, just don't. And I left my case on there. So when I finally walked, I was like, all right, that's when the video kicked on. When I was like, all right, Maria, I'm going to go out here and get this shit settled. I'm done doing this. You know, I have to, I have a shoot job and I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm not contracted full-time wrestler as much as I would love to be, and everyone does, but I had my shoot job to get back to in a life, so I was like, we got to handle this. This is crazy. This isn't something that you could do on a day-to-day basis, which I think she's been doing. And she told me, she's like, I was in my routine, I was doing my stuff, and then he came back because they had separate rooms. Like, Maria was not with him. Maria was like, okay, we'll stay here until we figure something out. You stay in your room, and I'll be in my room. And then, like, I saw the setup. It was perfect for what she was trying to help her ex-boyfriend with, he's had so many chances since I've known him. And I think the biggest thing, before we get into the video is I think Teddy Hart's going to realize that the Commonwealth of Virginia doesn't give you chances here. They give you a hall pass. And if you don't come straight back to class, they bust your ass. And I don't mean that to rhyme like it did, but I mean, that's just how I like to explain things to people on this, I guess.
So you were saying that's the point where you saw him playing around with your holster, I guess?
Yeah.
And I guess you were afraid he was going to steal it.
Well, I didn't. It's a like $50 leather holster. If he did steal it, great. Ran off fine, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I was done. My temperature was already up. I was mad as hell.
The cops were called by this point?
No, the cops were not called by this point. When I started to make the video, when I started recording me and Teddy Harts' altercation, I told her, you hear in the video, lock the door, do not let it, just lock the door, stay inside, this, that, and the third. She did do it. I was very proud of her. Because usually with domestic relationship and violence, if someone is the victim, it's the guy that's trying to help. Because the love triangle and all that, that goes on.
I've had that issue myself. I won't get into that story, but trying to interfere in others and yeah.
Yeah. So but see, knowing what I've known and, the stuff that I've been involved with in my life, I knew. I was like, just stay, Marie, no matter what happens, stay in here. She told, I think on the other side of the glass when I was, she's like, don't hurt him. No, I didn't want to hurt anybody, but I was pissed off and I was done by this point. So I was like, all right, if this goes down the way I think it is, I'm going to need evidence. You know what I'm saying? So I started recording at an evidence basis, not to be an asshole, not to badmouth Teddy Hart or put Teddy Hart down or, let's all feel bad for Teddy Hart. No, I did this for my protection against Teddy Hart. What I thought at the point where I was going to have to shoot Teddy Hart. And that's a fucked up thing to wake up to and understand. A guy with 2 kids that works a shoot job, that wants to be a professional wrestler, that is a professional wrestler on an independent level. It was really stressful because I was like, man, I hope he just doesn't, because I'm not going to fight him. I'm not going to fight you. That's it. The days of throwing dukes are over. You know what I'm saying? Because my only thought is, because obviously he was under the influence of something besides marijuana. And the stuff that he was spitting out and talking about, it was crazy. I knew that if he got,
what was he saying about Lanny Poffo, by the way?
Well, that's what people keep telling me. Like, I heard him say it. He's like, I'm going to book a match between me and Lanny Poffo against you and the guy I mentioned earlier, my good friend of mine, Pork Chop Johnson, and me. We have a tag team that we do. We're called Bacon and Eggs.
Okay.
And it's, black guy, white guy. I'm bacon, he's eggs. Same brother from another mother. We just do a very old school, fun, JYD Dusty spill. You know what I'm saying? It's really
Yep.
fun for the kids, and it's a lot. It is. It's a lot of fun. And that's what he was yelling about Lanny Poffo. But a funny story, like I told you earlier, is anytime I think about Lanny Poffo, and I just watched the Dark Side of the Ring, Macho Man thing, the only time when someone mentioned his name, I think of you when he slapped the shit out of you and you were about to break his fucking arm. And I'm like, and like when he's yelling this at me, I literally come to my mind. I'm like, damn, Hannibal almost killed that guy as I'm telling him to get the fuck on. You know what I'm saying?
It's so random that he would mention his name of all the wrestlers.
Out of all the wrestlers, that's who he wants to book as a tag team partner against two indie guys. I was like, well, that payday is going to be pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is no bullshit on Lanny Poffo. If he sees this, you know, I've never met you. I don't have nothing against Lanny Poffo. I mean, otherwise he almost got his fucking arm broke by the guy I'm talking to right now. Which I think at that time, man, I don't know if you're still. I mean, I can only see you from the neck up like me, but at that time you were jacked, dude. Like, I don't. I mean, I give it for Lanny for slapping the shit out of you, but I was like, you're dead. Yeah, old man, you were dead. You know what I'm saying? So
he says that, and then I guess you eventually chase him off. He eventually leaves.
After I screamed, everybody keeps tagging me in it and messaging me about. I said something about a fucking juice box, and I think I said, take you and your fucking juice box and get up the fucking road or something. Which, you know, at that point it's just loud barking, trying to say whatever. But it's funny, you know. My buddy Derek was hit me up, and he owns a t-shirt company, and I was like, yeah, that'd be a funny shirt, but I don't want to. Like I said, I'm not going to do anything like that. It's crazy how everything comes in a full circle in wrestling. People talk about that a lot in wrestling. And, you know, the biggest thing, man, is he after all that was said and done, and I didn't have to shoot and kill Teddy Hart, you know what I'm saying? Like, that blows my mind that I would even have to say that shit. After I was able to say, okay, I'm fucking done with this. He's not gonna leave. He's gonna wait till the truck is gone. He's gonna wait till I'm gone. Then he's going to come back and fuck with her. You know what I'm saying? I called the cops, and in the video, when I tell them the cops have been called, I didn't call him by that point. I was just hoping that saying that would give him the sense to start walking the fuck away. And as I'm saying this on camera, what's in the fucking background? Hannibal.
The cops.
A fucking cop.
Yeah.
A cop was in the background, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that sucks. Hopefully, you know, as bad as he was off, I don't think he noticed the police trooper that was at the stoplight.
That's why, actually, because you allowed me to post that video, and a few people put in the comments already, this is all a work because the cops must not have been called because the cops are right in the background. So you just explained that.
Yeah, like here's the thing too, right? Like, I've heard that wrestling fans will take this much of the information and make a story out of it, which is perfect because that's wrestling. Let me go on record and tell everyone this is a shoot. Like Paul Heyman says, you want to shoot. This, my friends, is a shoot. Like, this is no bullshit. I literally thought I was going to have to kill one of the Hart's kids. And that's a horrible thing to say and even think, but like, he's on drugs. He's not there. He's not the Teddy Hart that people loved when he's doing backflip off of cages. And, you know, him and Cornette are getting mad because he thinks he did too many backflips. You know, it's whatever. What I'm saying is this is 100% real life. By no means do I walk around trying to be some really badass tough guy. But if I love you and I respect you, and definitely if you're a woman in this situation and get hurt, I'm going to protect you. You know, that's one thing my wife loves about me is if I love you and I respect you, I'm going to do anything I can to help you, you know? And without a shadow of a doubt, he fucked up today. He fucked up to the point where, man, if he doesn't, he's already facing felony charges. The cops told us when they were there, like, you know, because, you know, they took the report. The cops took pictures of Maria's body, and, you know, the marks are ridiculous. I'm talking, I mean, it looked like it looked like someone painted red. Like that's how red it was and how it was just like bulging out. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and I got one guy today, I think he called and like threatened me, said he was going to come beat my ass for doing this to Teddy Hart. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Come beat my ass. Whatever. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, welcome to the world. Once people more know who you are, you're going to get lots of that.
Right. I'm just gonna refer him to you and be like, man, look, this guy will take care of all your questions.
Yeah. Well, let's hope you don't encounter any of those real crazies. And so I guess the cops, as you said, they took pictures of her. They took a statement from her. I'm guessing they took your statement.
Yeah,
and
got
then
my ID, took out all
him.
my info. Yeah.
Do we know that they actually found him after that? Is that
Well, that was one thing that I was super grateful, and that all the rumors that I've been seeing, yes, he did. He was taken into custody. They found him 3 alleys away. Like Richmond set up like an old city. We got houses and alleys, then back into the city, stuff like that. They said he was trying to duck them, and he hid behind a couple of dumpsters, I think they said. But they got him in custody. There's a 72-hour, 74-hour restraining order against him coming around Maria. But with his track record in the last 2 months, they're not going to let him out, especially with the coronavirus and stuff. Like, they're going to get him in there. He's going to sit, and he's going to sit until the court dates, until the arraignment. And the one thing about Virginia is you don't go to court right away. You sit, then you go in front of a judge to get a court date arraignment. And the only reason why I know this is, my wife's a lawyer. So, it's just crazy on like, and let me go on record and tell every guy this. Hannibal, you can probably tell him too. If it gets to the point of that, tell him you're going to take the trash out and just take a breather. Grab the trash, throw it away, and then don't fucking come back. You know what I'm saying? Like, get as a male, and I'm not saying that men can't be abused. It's just weird, man, because you can't even talk about anything on social media or anything because he's like, oh, well, men can be abused too, and it ain't just women. It's just like, I'm a Southern boy from Alabama that grew up wanting to be Dusty Rhodes, the American dream, and, listen to Leonard Skinner and ride Harley Davidsons and wrestle. Like, that's what I love, and it just sucks, man, because like you can't even say, okay, yeah, men can be beat up too, and it's not just women, but I'm saying no one, man or female, should get hurt from their significant other or someone that they're involved with. No one should be able to touch anyone. It happens, domestic violence is a very, very bad thing, and everyone needs to do their part if you see it to say something. That's the only reason why I showed up at this Airbnb this morning, because I took a second to go, all right, let me go see what the fuck's going on. And I'm glad that I did this because, then he was picked up and then he was arraigned. I mean, they found him, and he told her, hey, they're not letting nobody in the jail, so I'll get back to you because of the coronavirus. And I looked at her like, I was like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah, that's what he said. And I'm like, if I rob a bank today, you think they're just going to say, nope, hey, we caught you, but you can't come in jail. You know what I'm saying? So like, to ease her mind, I had to call the Richmond City Police non-emergency number. I was like, hey, if you do a crime, are y'all still taking people to jail? And she's like, that's a dumb question. Yes. And I was like, thanks. Have a good day. And then I had the non-emergency lady, she shot on me and was like not funny about it, and I was like looking at her because I had to be called stupid just to tell her that what I already told her.
In Canada, anyways, we are releasing prisoners, so it's not that stupid of a question.
Right. And that's fair too. And like, and that's the cool thing is like, once I found that out, I was like, all right, well, that's weird. But obviously it's got to be on some bullshit charges, like you stole a lawnmower or, you know what I'm saying? Or like you had a joint on you. I mean, these cops were pissed off because, her neck was fucked up, man. Her eyes were bloodshot red. She looked like she was legit in a fight, like a grown man straight out of Roadhouse bar fight. You know what I'm saying?
Well, as I said to you earlier, you may have actually saved Ted too, because who knows how much further it could have gone. And I will never get in a situation like this. I'm not that type of person. But like, I would rather have an assault charge than a murder charge to fight, personally.
Because at the end of the day, and I'm going to be the one to go on record, because in the midst of all this, I started my podcast on Anchor. I just did like a little opener, and I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't have done this. I won't have nothing to talk about because it's Friday Night Thoughts on Anchor. And that's my little plug I'm going to put in there, because I'm going to talk about this again and how it emotionally made me feel, more than just getting the scoop of ice cream that I'm giving, your watchers and stuff like this. And, it just doesn't make sense. People should just love each other more than what's going on in the world, and in wrestling, I've never been to the big times, with, any of the promotions. When they brought NWA back, dude, I thought I died and went to heaven, because all I wanted to do was get back in the gym, get in shape, get tan, send them videos, because that's what I love. That's the videos I grew up watching. And so to see that, and then I also wrestle for Robert Gibson in Georgia every second Saturday of every month in Douglasville, Georgia. So I'll put Robert Gibson's promotion over. I think it's ACPW. Cool. Yep, that's what it is. So ACPW down in Douglasville, Georgia, with Robert Gibson. And, they put on a great show there. And I was, it's just really cool to be able to be around someone that I used to idolize, him and Ricky and Jimmy Valiant. And when I got to meet Dusty and to see NWA come back, man, I was like, oh yeah, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. And then it's not like that. It's not what, it's not where I wanted to be. This is not how I wanted to be introduced to pro wrestling. And I know I keep saying that because, I know I'm going to have people who are going to be like, oh, he only did this to get famous. I mean, it's bullshit, because, like I know in 3 days, maybe a week, this won't even be talked about again. You'll just be like, oh, hey, that's that guy, that was on the Hannibal show that fucking almost had to kill Ted Hart because he's drugged out and he needs help, and that sucks. But, the wrestling community, the wrestling fans demand a lot from everybody in the industry, from the indie guys, from the interviewers, your fucking story is amazing, and, that's why when you reached out to me, I was like, holy shit, of course I'll do your show. No problem. I love everything that you do in the industry, even before this, when you were fucking Landy Poffo's night up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the wrestling fans, they demand a lot from everyone that's involved, from people that help behind the scenes to try to get free tickets, to get the insides, to whatever. And I just wish, in my heart of hearts, I just wish wrestling fans, including wrestlers, would just love wrestling again. I don't think wrestling's loved anymore. I think wrestling's put in categories and torn apart. And if you don't like this brand, or if you support that brand, then you can't be our friends. And it's like, when WCW closed down, I'm gonna tell this story on, I don't know, you got plenty of you want to know what my goal in wrestling was?
What's that? To be
you ready for this? Try not to laugh. My goal in professional wrestling, when I was in Alabama, was it Huntsville or Birmingham? I want to say it was Huntsville, or I think it was Birmingham. No, sorry, it was Florence, Alabama. My goal when I was a kid in pro wrestling was to my pinnacle of my wrestling career. I told this at the camp leaders at the YMCA and everything, was to wrestle Bobby Eaton on Thursday Night Thunder. Like, that was it. That was the in my mind at 10 years old, 9 years old, whatever it was. I was just like, man, that would be so cool, because he was from Alabama and I was from Alabama. We would, and it's just, I don't think there's any love like that anymore, especially once, the fans, get their favorites and smarten up. And I know Teddy Hart has wrestling fans out there that still love Teddy Hart, and I'm not saying stop loving Teddy Hart. I apologize to the Hart family for any bad things that this may have happened. Davey Boy's son reached out to me on Messenger, and we talked a little bit, and he understood. But I told him, I said, dude, Teddy's Hart's actions have nothing against the family. I love Brett. You know what I'm saying? I loved your dad, and I loved Owen, and I loved all of them. It's just a dynasty that you have to love them. No matter what. I always said, uh, if you don't like sweet tea, the Hart Foundation, the Hart family, there's a flavored tea with all the guys there that you'll wind up loving one of them.
Right.
And I think, and when he reached out to me, it was really cool. It was very, very respectful. And it just, like you did, it took you guys to a whole new level with me, which y'all didn't even know I existed probably, which is fine. But I'm able to look at it. And I just want people that know Teddy Hart and love Teddy Hart to understand that he's not good. He needs real help, and it's not a bad thing to want help as a man. I think as wrestlers, we try to be these tough guys, and we take it out on our wives, our girlfriends, our lovers, boyfriends, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's really hard to open up, get soft. I've been saying that for years. Don't be afraid to get soft, because when you wind up being so hard, no one wants to be around you anymore. You're just mean. You're a mean person. You're not loved. You know what I'm saying? And you're not willing to be, if you're not willing to accept the love, you're not willing to give the love, and Teddy Hart needs love. Teddy Hart needs support. Teddy Hart needs family. Teddy Hart needs friends, and Teddy Hart needs to get his shit together and understand that it's okay to take medication to help you out. It's okay to talk about your emotions, but when you cross a line like he did today, then what you could have done with friends, families, and the love and support of people, you threw that away for now. It's like, okay, well, 4 walls, still bars, and they'll tell you what to do, because they got a saying down here in Virginia, Virginia's for lovers, but if you won't love someone, they'll find someone for love you.
Oh boy, yeah. Well, I
That's
hope
what
he
it is.
doesn't have those kind of problems. So you do have a podcast on Anchor, if you want to
Yeah,
remind
I
us what
haven't
it's.
posted any. Like, I don't even have an episode. I'm gonna have one Friday. It's Friday Night Thoughts, is what it's called. I posted it on my Facebook. If anyone wants, but it's on Anchor, the app. I just started because a friend of mine who actually has a podcast on there, Avery Jones podcast. He's like, hey man, you should do this. You're very live and loud and obnoxious and flamboyant. You do really good. And I was like, oh, let me try it out. And I got the opening. I thought it was pretty good. So yeah, definitely check that out if you want to. It's super cool.
And are you on? I know you're on Facebook, but where can people find you on social media?
I have a Twitter, but learning from Donald Trump, I don't really post my thoughts because I wind up getting you wind up getting lashings after you do it. You know what I'm saying? You wind up taking a lot. So I got a Twitter. Facebook is Ace Montana. I got on there. I got me my wedding suit I bought. Buddy of mine's like, "Why'd you change your picture?" I was like, "Cause I spent $700 on this suit. I'm gonna show it off every chance I get. Because I'm like I said, I'm a overall wearing cowboy. Son of a bitch sometimes. So I enjoy being able to get dressed up sometimes. And I do have an Instagram. They're both linked on there. I'm not hard to find, just like anyone in the world is that's on social media. But yeah, I'm going to start my Anchor this Friday night on Friday Night Thoughts in the app Anchor. And I think as I build fans, they'll put me on other platforms. But right now, I'm just on Anchor. I think by itself. Um, and that's pretty much it. I only wrestle for one guy in the wrestling industry right now, and that's Robert Gibson from the Rock and Roll Express down in Douglasville, Georgia for ACPW. If you're in the Georgia area, you want to come by and meet the guy who helped Teddy Hart. That's what I think I did. I don't want to look at it like I hurt him. I think I helped Teddy Hart. Come on by, buy a ticket, watch some great wrestling. Other than that, man, I just wish love and happiness for everybody. And I know that doesn't sound cool to come from a pro wrestler, but man, I just miss them. And, Hannibal, I think you can join me in on this, man. It's just like we're losing so many legend guys, and it breaks my heart. It just feels like, man, every decade it's like more and more people are just saying goodbye, and it's just like there's not, it's the golden era is gone. I get it, but like, I wish people just let bygones, just like the Kobe Bryant thing. I'm saying that the man had everything and he was loved by billions. And, here we are 2 weeks and you or a couple of weeks after or before. I mean, it was over a month now, maybe, but, you don't hear about it as when it was hot, and I just wish people would love more. I wish people would understand that being tough wrestlers, cameraman a zoom. No, I'm just joking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wish, I wish there was more love in the world. I wish there was more time to love and have good times than, hey, that guy got my spot, or his fucking super kicks are stupid, or, he's too fat to be in wrestling, or she's too ugly, or she's too tall, or he's not good enough. How much is he getting paid? Like, I think that's where it misses, man. I think that's why, people talk about the older days so much still to this day, is because the guys had a camaraderie of, I mean, everybody has their, you're not going to go anywhere and be liked everywhere. That's what my grandfather always told me. He also told me I was dumb as shit and no good in a bag of hammers. I said, well, if you got a bunch of fucking nails, you'll need them bag of hammers, wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that was pretty much everything laid out. And you're the first person I talked to about it, and I told you that's why I wanted to do your show, to let you know, about this, because I do know that I have seen that you've covered this with Teddy and interviewed him, and
there's a lot of Teddy Hart fans on this channel, so you're actually going to be speaking to a lot of his fans.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, man, is like, please don't hate me. I didn't know Teddy Hart as what Teddy Hart. I knew Teddy Hart as a guy that hurt a friend.
Right.
So you can't get mad at me because he hurt my friend, but I didn't hurt him. I helped Teddy Hart understand that he had to leave, and I think so many people are going to get that mixed up. And that's why I want to push it with, I didn't hurt him. I didn't shoot him. I didn't beat him up. I used my voice and my tactics to get him to safely out of the house, get them apart. I called the police. Because if I didn't call the police, what would Teddy Hart be doing right now? Walking the streets of Richmond with an ankle bracelet on? Now he's out of the cold. He's not going to get hurt. He's going to get medical attention if he needs it. He's going to get food. He's going to be okay. He's not going to get hurt. And like, that's what I'm talking about with the love, man, is, it's I wish it would have been different, but it wasn't. Teddy Hart hurt my friend, and I had to make sure she was okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him in fights, obviously. I've known him for many, many years. Never seen any of that type of behavior, but I understand in recent months, I guess, there's been a bit of a downward spiral from many of his friends and family members that I've talked to. So, as you said, I don't think he had a job. I don't think he had any money coming in.
He had no money, no job. He was unemployed. He was in a bad way, man. He had nothing. And then, Maria didn't want him there anymore. I mean, and who could blame her? You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and be mad at Maria because she kicked Teddy Hart out for, him putting his hands on her.
So at least he has a roof over his head and meals. So
I got a brother of mine. Yeah, I got a brother of mine locked up for like 32 years. And every time we speak, it's not very often anymore, because over time, he went in when he was 18 and he's the same age as me. And I'm 32. So he's been locked up in legit prison for a long time. And he said, I asked him, I said, man, you think it would have been different if you just would have behaved and listened to mom and stuff? He said, I was never going to do that. But I am thankful for jail or prison, because if it wasn't for this place, I would have been dead a long, long time ago and forgotten of. So at least I'm able to learn from my mistakes. Because he's doing big time, like 23 years. You know what I'm saying? So he's doing real big stuff. I'm a big fan of Canada. I'm a big fan of the wrestlers that come out of the Hart family. your stuff. I mean, just you guys can produce a pro wrestler, baby. You know what I'm saying? But just understand, Teddy Hart fans, that I'm not a bad guy. I'm not even, I'm a good dude. And today I went to an aid of a friend in the wrestling business, and that's the business that I love. And I want to get back. I wish we would get back to loving the business like it was. I may get shit for talking this way, and oh, he's an idiot. He's too soft. You got to be tough. Only the strong survive, as what's his name would say. But yeah, I want Teddy in. I want Teddy to get help. You know what I'm saying? If I could help him put money on his commissary books or whatever, I would now. You know what I'm saying? I would go after all this bullshit. I would go and sit with him and say, dude, what is it? Is it religion? Is it your health? Is it your mindset? Is it something that you wish? Like, what does Teddy Hart need? But right now, Teddy Hart can't give you that conversation because Teddy Hart's checked out. He's he's not there no more. The guy that's there now is a very lost young man. And, I don't want it. I don't want to see a Teddy Hart story on the dark sides of wrestling. You know what I'm saying? I want to see a happy thing with Teddy Hart. I want to see Teddy Hart come out of this healthy, mentally and physically, with a better outlook on life and what he wants to do outside of it. Because, one thing that I tell all my friends that get into wrestling or wrestlers themselves that are, I'm like, stop banking on, being the big show on the main event stage. Bank on yourself to love wrestling, do wrestling, enjoy it, but learn to do other avenues that make you money, that's going to have you set up in the long run where you're not broke or you sad, or you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many guys that deal with that now,
Because even if you are on the main event stage, it doesn't last forever. And you spend most of your time in the minor leagues for most wrestlers, unless you're The Rock, Austin, Randy Orton.
Right. Unless you're the key players of a superstar built program. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. That's what blows my mind is, getting to meet so many guys, after their big runs like Kevin Nash and Kevin Sullivan and Dusty Rhodes and, Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant's only 3 hours from me. And when I go up there to, train and, I still pay him to train, show up at the school, which I don't mind, it's $25 and he'll get you in there. And he got some guys helping him because, he's in his 70s now. But, he sat there and said, I've been on the Indies longer than I was in the big leagues, it's just really cool to see the humbleness of that guy and everything that he's done, to be able to, he loves it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can truly see that he loves wrestling. And just like with Robert Gibson in the School of Morton down in Tennessee, his tag team partner, Ricky Morton, School of Morton, man, they got some great stuff going on down there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got a little YouTube TV show, man. And his school is really set up great. They do live events. They got a really good thing going down there. And not just Ricky Morton himself, but his whole team that's helping him run it. From the wrestlers to the staff members to the, concessions and all of them. They're doing a great job there. And then you got guys like, Robert. He's down there doing a great promotion, drawing decent crowds and, putting together good wrestling shows, And, like I said, after all this coronavirus is over, I want to get to Canada because I told you my wife wants to see Niagara from y'all's side. So you booked me in Canada. It'll be the first time I wrestle in Canada. I can, knock 2-3 things off the list when I get there. Because I heard y'all got the best maple syrup on the market.
Oh, that is true, especially up in this area. We got a lot of maple trees up here.
Oh,
Well,
right.
thanks a lot for doing this. This was great. Any closing remarks for our fans here? You've been very generous with your time.
You know what? Love wrestling and helping love others. And my catchphrase, the one thing I say when you check out the podcast, if you do, don't ever fry bacon naked.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month to watch our full shoot interviews ad-free and help our channel grow. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV for instant updates.